2 years ago, if you saw a home you liked in the villages, you didn't have much time to think. Sometimes you had 10 days, sometimes less. Buyers rushed. Offers stacked up. Inspections were waived because if you hesitated, someone else would take the house. That market is gone. Today, homes that would have sold in a week are sitting for 3 months, 4 months, sometimes even longer. And this isn't happening on the margins. It's becoming the pattern. I've been tracking this market closely, and what's showing up now isn't just a normal slowdown. These are the kinds of signals that usually appear before a market quietly reprices itself, long before most people realize something has changed. For anyone unfamiliar, the Villages is one of the largest active adult communities in the United States. It's located in central Florida, about an hour north of Orlando. At its peak, it was adding thousands of new residents every year. The appeal was obvious: golf courses, social clubs, planned activities, warm weather, and a real estate market that felt stable and predictable. For a long time, that reputation was deserved. The Villages wasn't just popular with retirees, it attracted investors, adult children buying homes for their parents, and people who saw it as a safe place to park wealth during retirement. Demand was strong, and it held up even when other markets started to soften. That's exactly why what's happening now matters. When a market this established starts showing cracks, it's rarely a fluke. It's usually an early warning. And the signals appearing in the Villages right now are the same ones real estate professionals pay attention to, even when the general public doesn't. The most obvious signal is time. Homes are taking longer to sell. In 2022 and into early 2023, many homes in the Villages were on the market for less than 2 weeks. Some sold within days. Now it's common to see listings sitting for 60 days, 90 days, sometimes longer. And these aren't distressed properties or fixer-uppers. They're move-in-ready homes in desirable parts of that community. Time matters in real estate because time is cost. Every additional week a home sits unsold means another round of HOA fees, insurance payments, utilities, and maintenance. For retirees on fixed incomes, that pressure adds up quickly. But even more important than the cost is what it does to buyer psychology. When homes were selling fast, buyers felt urgency. They knew if they waited, they'd miss out. Today, buyers know they can take their time. They can negotiate. They can ask for concessions. And once that psychological shift happens, it doesn't reverse easily. Buyers start asking quiet questions. If this home has been sitting for 3 months, what's wrong with it? Is it overpriced? Is the area losing appeal? Even when the answers are harmless, the doubt itself creates hesitation, and hesitation spreads. When a home doesn't sell, the next thing that usually happens is a price cut. One price adjustment is normal. Markets move. But what's showing up more often now are repeated price cuts on the same listing. A home lists at $450,000. 6 weeks later, it's $435,000. A couple months after that, it drops again. The seller isn't negotiating from a position of strength anymore. They're trying to find where the market actually is. This creates a feedback loop. Other sellers see the price reductions and start worrying their own homes are overpriced. Buyers see the cuts and think, if I wait another month, will it drop again? And once that expectation forms, it becomes self-fulfilling. Buyers wait, sellers cut. The cycle continues. In the Villages, this is especially stressful because many sellers were counting on their home equity to fund the next stage of life. A 10% price reduction can mean the difference between affording assisted living or not, between moving closer to family or staying put. The margin is thin and the pressure is real. And when price cuts stop working, sellers don't reassess the market. They reassess their timeline. That's when another quiet signal starts to appear. Homes get relisted under new agents. The original listing expires without a sale, and the seller decides to try again with someone else. It's a sign of frustration. They believe the first attempt would work, and when it didn't, they're hoping a fresh approach will make the difference. But changing agents doesn't change the fundamentals. If the home didn't sell because demand was weaker or the price was too high, a new listing won't fix that. What it does signal, though, is motivation. Sometimes urgency, sometimes desperation. For buyers, that's leverage. For the market as a whole, it's a warning sign. When multiple homes in the same community go through this process, it means listings are no longer converting into sales the way they used to. And when that breaks down, prices eventually follow. At the same time, supply is rising while buyer urgency is fading. For years, inventory in the Villages was tight. Homes that hit the market didn't stay there long. That kept prices stable and gave sellers confidence. Over the past year, that balance has shifted. More homes are listed, fewer are selling, and the ones that do sell take longer. Buyer behavior has changed too. People aren't rushing. They're shopping around. They're waiting to see if prices soften further. And in a retirement community, that dynamic matters more than in a traditional housing market. Most buyers in the Villages are over 55. They're not upgrading homes every few years. This is often their final purchase and they're cautious. If they sense uncertainty, they wait. If they hear about insurance premiums rising or HOA fees climbing, they pause. And once that hesitation becomes widespread, it's very hard to reverse. On top of all of this is the rising cost of ownership. HOA fees in the villages have been climbing steadily, sometimes exceeding $300 a month. Add property taxes, maintenance, and especially insurance, and the monthly cost becomes harder to justify. Florida's insurance market has been under strain, and the villages hasn't been immune. Premiums have doubled or tripled in some cases. Some carriers have left the state entirely. For buyers, the purchase price is no longer the main concern. The monthly carrying cost is? This creates a disconnect. Sellers price their homes based on sales from 2 years ago. Buyers do the math based on today's costs. When those numbers don't line up, deals fall apart. And finally, there's the demographic reality. Many of the people selling homes in the villages are aging into their 70s and 80s. They're not selling because they want to. They're selling because circumstances are forcing them to. Health issues, assisted living, moving closer to children. When those needs arise, sellers don't have the luxury of waiting for the perfect market. They accept lower offers because they have to. And once a few homes sell below expectations, it resets pricing for everyone else. Appraisers use recent sales. Buyers anchor to the new numbers. Even sellers who aren't in a hurry find their equity shrinking. In a community where many residents are in the same stage of life, this pressure compounds quickly. When more people are trying to exit and the buyer pool isn't expanding to match, the math stops working. Real estate markets don't collapse overnight. They slow first, listings linger, prices adjust, buyers wait, sellers hold out until they can't. And somewhere in that process, the market quietly reprices itself. It doesn't always mean a crash. Sometimes it's just a correction. But the transition is uncomfortable, especially for people who need to sell. The Villages is showing early signs of that transition now. Not because of one dramatic event, but because the fundamentals are slowly drifting out of balance. If you're buying, these signals give you leverage. If you're selling, they're a reminder that timing matters. And if you're simply watching the market, it's worth paying attention because once a retirement market like this starts to reprice, it rarely snaps back quickly. Something is changing in the Villages, and the listings are already telling that story.